When we look back at 2018, the standout hip-hop albums that marked the year will be K.O.D. by J. Cole, Daytona by Pusha T, Victory Lap by Nipsey Hussle, The Carter 5 by Lil Wayne, Scorpion by Drake, Kamikaze by Eminem, Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B, and Black Thought's brilliant pair of EPs, Streams of Thought Volume 1, produced by Ninth Wonder, and Streams of Thought Volume 2, produced by Salaam Remi. But then there will also be those 2018 albums that will be remembered for reasons other than witty rhymes and hypnotic body rockin' beats. The high-profile projects that had whack rollouts. Whether it was ill-advised or uninformed comments about slavery before an album release date, or literally getting incarcerated the same month as the scheduled album date, these were definitely the worst rap album rollouts of 2018. So Desiigner is the energetic young man from Brooklyn that had everyone bouncing to his 2015 5x platinum anthem, Panda. But that was back in 2015. Unfortunately, in 2018, Desiigner's name didn't elicit the massive pandemonium that did when the Panda era was going on. With just one 2016 mixtape entitled New English tucked away in his portfolio, with his once platinum tune Timmy Turner, the rollout of Desiigner's EP project l.o.d, also known as Life of Desiigner, needed much more to roll out on than what it received from its Kanye West founded Good Music record label. First things first, out of the 7 songs showcased on l.o.d, Price Tag, Tonka, After Party, Pop It, Destination, LA to NY, and Hood, how many of them were hits? The answer to that question is 0. It was like Desiigner was sent out to war with water balloons. The likelihood of his past songs saving him proved unlikely. After nearly 3 years with no debut album, was a debut EP the right move? It was on Kanye's label, but where was Kanye on the project? None of Ye's star power was exploited with a guest verse or even a full-on blanket of beats, all from Kanye, like the Good Music leader himself gave to Kid Cudi, Nas, Pusha T, and Tiana Taylor on their 2018 albums. As a matter of fact, why wasn't Desiigner included in the 5 albums in 5 weeks marathon of the record release strategy that transpired just weeks after the May 14, 2018 release of l.o.d? Desiigner sure could have used that collective energy to convince new listeners to lend the project their eardrums, and already established fans a steady reminder that he still existed. Desiigner clearly didn't have as much household name leverage to latch onto the market with his EP, all by his lonesome, making the omission of him in the good music industry takeover a missed opportunity. With just a bunch of not-so-great music reviews to sail on, such as Pitchfork that said, there are a few moments on l.o.d when he doesn't sound like he's imitating Future, but they neither depart much from his typical formula, nor establish him as an artist with much verve or vision. Desiigner's l.o.d ended up with one of the worst rollouts of 2018. Speaking of unsuccessful short EP projects from successful rappers, in comes Machine Gun Kelly with his 9-song Binge EP to join Desiigner's l.o.d in the poor album rollout section of 2018's rap release calendar. How exactly did this release go so wrong for MGK? He had the P. Diddy's Bad Boy records behind him, a 6-year career of releasing albums like Lace Up, General Admission, and Bloom, film and television appearances, and leftover TMZ level of publicity that comes with once dating someone like Amber Rose, and the biggest possible good look he could ask for, battling the lyrically supreme Eminem with his track Rap Devil, and in some circles actually coming out on top. Even if it was considered a tie with Eminem or barely losing, either scenario would be wins for Machine Gun Kelly leading up to releasing Binge. But even though MGK may have come out of the War of Words with Eminem unscathed, his EP Binge didn't fare so well. Released on September 21st, 2018, just 18 days after releasing the Hot Topic track Rap Devil, Binge still only sold under 22,000 copies in its first week. In fact, out of the other songs besides Rap Devil, which included Long Time Coming, Loco, GTS, Nylon, Lately, Signs, Get the Broom, and Live Fast Die Young, the Hit Factory was closed for business on Binge. One of the factors in many of the neutral and negative music reviews that Binge received was its perceived codependence on Machine Gun Kelly's feud with Eminem to make the project relevant. Its peak chart position on US top R&B hip-hop albums Billboard chart was just 16, That isn't very good when you have Eminem, who is seemingly allergic to giving interviews, talking about MGK in an exclusive Sway Calloway interview that secured millions of eyeballs on it. 6ix9ine, Dummy Boy. How bad could things be for Tekashi 6ix9ine's rollout, the rainbow-haired Latino rap star from Brooklyn, New York? Just less than a week before he was slated to drop his debut album Dummy Boy, reality reached out and snatched him out of his rap life when he was arrested by federal agents on racketeering and weapons charges, for which he could end up spending 32 years to life in prison if convicted. With the arrest, postponing the release of Dummy Boy was a logical move, with his legal status being sorted out. But just under a week after the initial postponement, 6ix9ine announced that he was, indeed, going to release Dummy Boy, and launched the album onto streaming services on November 27, 2018. 6ix9ine pleaded not guilty to his charges and set a trial date for September 2019, trying to beat out the digital bootleggers and strike while his name was the red-hot moniker in hip-hop that it was, at that moment, made the rollout of Dummy Boy seem clumsy, rushed, and a tad bit confusing. Dummy Boy debuted on the top 2 of the Billboard 200, with the #1 spot taken by Travis Scott's Astroworld album that was still holding its own well into the fall season. Only 66,000 copies of Dummy Boy were sold the first week. It also didn't help that reviewers weren't exactly blown away with 6ix9ine's performance on the songs. Some stated that it seemed like he got outshined on his album by guest stars like Nicki Minaj and Kanye West, who both appeared twice. That is not the type of reaction 6ix9ine would want to have, especially if he could potentially be off the rap radar for decades if he's forced to serve out that prison time. Nicki Minaj Queen. Nicki Minaj's promotional rollout for her 4th studio album Queen basically consisted of calling out anyone who criticized her with angry venom. Nicki's ongoing public feud with newcomer Cardi B didn't help matters much for her Queen release. If anything, it further divided her audience into Cardi and Nicki camps. Then there was a release date that floated around all over the place from June to August, with the excuse being the need to clear a Tracy Chapman sample. That is rather odd, considering Tracy Chapman is suing Nicki Minaj for copyright infringement. Nicki used Twitter for warfare, harassing Toronto-based culture writer Wanna Thompson, who simply said on Twitter, "You know how dope it would be if Nicki put out mature content, no silly stuff, just reflecting on past relationships, being a boss, hardships, etc. She's touching 40 soon, a new direction is needed." The ugly and derogatory reaction that Wanna Thompson received back from Nicki was super harsh, and made worse by the fact that both are talented black women of Trinidadian heritage that could have lifted each other up during the rollout. From the outside looking in, this wasn't a positive look for Nicki. To make matters even more gutter, when Nicki Minaj's Queen debuted and peaked at #2 on the Billboard 200 and lost out to Travis Scott's Astroworld, ironically like 6ix9ine's Dummy Boy did, Nicki looked like a big sore loser when she began blasting Scott on her Queen radio show for using ticket, album bundles to sell more copies of Astroworld, a tactic that Minaj herself used during the promotion of Queen. Nicki Minaj went as far as to even retroactively add Fifi to the end of Queen to boost his streaming numbers. If there has to be a crown given for the worst rap album rollouts of 2018, unfortunately it has to go to Kanye West. His ambitious plans were exciting to watch, such as producing 5 albums in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and releasing one each week from the end of May and through June 2018. Pusha T's Kanye-produced 7-song Daytona set the bar extremely high, and it was arguably never matched with the other 4 albums by Kanye West, Kanye's group Kids See Ghosts with Kid Cudi, Nas, and Tiana Taylor. Ongoing obstacles ensued. There were late album release parties, albums that hit streaming services late, last-minute tweaks, and the worst rollout tactic possible, self-sabotage. Kanye West probably could have made us love him a little bit more by staying off of Twitter, not trying to tell us that slavery was a choice during a TMZ interview, and that whole lift yourself weirdness. All this abolished the 13th Amendment chatting, his trademark Make America Great Again hat, his uninformed political rhetoric, his one-man Donald Trump fan club, and getting lyrically nailed by Drake, and performing as a water bottle on Saturday Night Live on purpose. All made Ye the worst at supporting good music on good music. This has been a Hip Hop Madness original. Make sure to stay tuned and stay up to date on everything we got going on by hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. Oh, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HipHopMadness and join the movement.